Hello everyone, today we'll go over a more niche topic. Today we're exploring extreme overclocking. Note, this tutorial most likely, although in a small margin, will degrade your CPU. I do not take responsibility for any damaged components. XOC is only for fun. Do not run the CPU at these settings 24/7. Most of the time the clock is just barely stable enough to finish the benchmark. Extreme overclocking is suited for more experienced PC builders and it's a cool hobby. That being said, it can get dangerous for hardware quick. I will mention safe voltages for XOC, but those are not safe at all for 24/7 use. Those voltages are safe for short benchmarks under reasonable temperatures. That being said, let's get into it. First up, if you're going to overclock competitively, you need a pretty good cooling solution. We are talking about at least a beefy air cooler or an all-in-one closed liquid cooler or AIO. The better the cooling, the better the results. Secondly, you need to document yourself very well. There are a lot of CPU architectures out there. Some are more prone to degrading than others. Keep that in mind. Thirdly, there are so-called safe-ish voltages. These voltages are way above safe for all-time voltages, but can be used for quick benchmarking with adequate cooling. If you are using air cooling, consider 1.55 or 1.58 absolute max for a bench. If you are on water, you can consider 1.6 as an absolute maximum floor. Anything over 1.6 is extremely dangerous as temperatures can get out of hand fast, and it is generally temperatures, not voltages, that degrade CPUs. Now that we are past that, there are a lot of pro tips that I can share. Part 1. Pretesting and preparation. Use sites like HardwareBot to look for general max frequency that you can expect. For example, for a 5930K that you can see on the screen, an average overclock is about 4.7, so expect that your chip can go as far as 4.6, 4.5. Use the Silicon Lottery binning statistics for an average of voltages for set clocks. It can be extremely useful. Do not despair if you have a bad bin. Things like that can happen. I had a 7700K which would not do even 4.9 GHz all core. It was, according to the Silicon Lottery statistics, in the worst 4%. Bench in the window. It keeps the house warm and the scores high. Do not be afraid to try weird cooling setups. You know the saying, it's not a bad idea if it works. Put a fan over the VRM. Trust me, it's worth it. Pre-test your CPU before throwing ice at it. It helps a lot. Part 2. Tweaking. Tweak the BCLK. It can help with as little as 5%, but in competitive overclocking it makes such a difference. Try BCLK straps for various clocks. If 100 x 46 does not work, try 125 MHz BCLK strap for 125 x 37 for an equivalent clock. Disable CPU spread spectrum. Set LLC or load line calibration to the second or third highest level. That keeps the voltage high during the benchmark and maintains stability. Memory tuning matters, sometimes. For Cinebench it can add some points, maybe 10, but for other benches like SuperPi 32M or 1M it matters a lot. For DDR3 keep under 1.7 volts, and for DDR4 keep under 1.45. Memory timings can look menacing, but only the 4 or 5 settings, the first 4 or 5 settings, make the biggest difference. Try to keep the CL or cache latency to the lowest you can, and increase the other timings for stability. In my experience, CL 16, 18, 18, 18, 36 is golden for DDR 3000 MHz or higher. For DDR3, try 99924. Also for memory, set the command rate to 1. It makes a relatively big difference. Part 3. Operating system tips. Try to boot at safe voltages and clocks. You need stability while you are running Windows Startup, so keep under 1.45 for core. Try to boot at normal speed of say 4 GHz and increase the speed in the OS. Use Intel XTU or AMD Ryzen Master. Sometimes the dedicated tweaking apps from manufacturers like ASUS, AI Suite or Gigabyte are useful. Use dedicated software like Benchmade, link in the description. It makes overclocking life so much easier. Use hardware info for temps and power consumption, And remember to close all other programs, including hardware info, when you run a benchmark. It makes a little bit of a difference. Keep the OS clean. Do not reuse the same install of Windows for different motherboards. And all processes that consume CPU, put the computer in high performance plan. For other benchmarks, or for the absolute best scores, install Windows XP. For older CPUs, like before 4th gen Intel or Bulldozer, disable Spectre and Meltdown patches. Once you are in the OS, increase the voltage and clock incrementally. For voltages over 1.5, max out the fans. Open the windows. Maybe even put the RAD in cool tap water like I did. I had to do this to finish a run of Cinebench R20 on the 5940K. It consumes somewhere close to 300 watts and the AIO could not do it. One more tip, sometimes you have to find the perfect balance. Too much voltage and the temps are going to cause instability. And too little, well, you guessed it, again instability. Try to spot a pattern in the temps. From my experience, anything over 87C will cause instability, so try to keep under. And maybe the most important tip is to have fun. Overclocking can be frustrating at times. Random crashes, power outages, or just bad hardware can ruin a mood. But keep a smile on your face and wreck them scores. You can find me on HardwareBot under the name AllZombie. For any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment. I will respond as fast as I can. And with that said, we're finished. Thank you for watching, and drop a like if you like, and get subscribed for more content like this. Thank you for watching again.